Like you're watching Signature TV. This is Signature Morning, and we are excited to still have you there. In 48 hours, beyond the local government elections that is happening in Imo, we also have local government elections that is due in several parts of the country, including Enugu State. You also keep an eye on what's going on in Edo State and bring you up to speed. We'll talk about the autonomy of the local government and building up to the elections that are due in 2 days. We have Elder Ngozi on Zoom this morning. Good to have you, sir. Good morning. All right, can you hear me, Elder Ngozi?
Very well, very well.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. What do you look forward to these local government elections are due? We understand that the dynamics have changed, given that the Supreme Court judgment finally giving a financial autonomy to the local government. Yes. Do you see any changes in dynamism of the relationship states and the local government?
Well, I'll start by saying that the 1979 Constitution was where the of local government was enshrined, but it was made explicit in 1999 when it captured under section sub 6 that there shall be 768 local government areas and 6 area councils in the federation. So, prior to that, section 3 sub 1 said that there shall be 36 states. So, if you look at the concept, the states have been federating with local governments since 1979 Constitution. The change we have had is the fact that both the federal and state government, based on the 1976 reform, the Dasuki reform, when we had what we called the unified local government system, in 1976 treated local government as a ministry. That's why we had at the federal level Ministry of States and Local Government. At the state level, we had the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. Now, fast forward to the implementation. The states from 1979 never saw the local government as being autonomous. They started branding what they call federation. And the argument is that there is no way we have 2 or 3 federating units. But ours, by constitution, Nigeria is a federation, singular word, a federation, not federations. Now, this federation consists of states and local governments. Mind you, it was the federal military government in 1967 that created 12 states out of 4 regions. It was the same federal military government in 1976 that increased the states to 19 and then created 301 local governments. Then, in terms of financing from 1966, it was on what we call grant and aid. But in 1979, Section 149 of the Constitution properly talked about federation account and the system of revenue allocation, which now recognize the local government to get 10% of the federation account and 10% of the state IGR. Now, the Second Republic governors did not approve of that autonomy. The same way the Fourth Republic governors since 1999 failed to equally recognize that the local governments are autonomous. And they hide under Section 7 of the Constitution, which was misinterpreted. This constitution provides that the system of local government by democratically elected local government councils under this constitution guaranteed. And accordingly, every state shall, subject to Section 8 of this constitution, ensure their existence under a law that provides for the establishment structure, commission, and finance of the councils. This subject to Section 8 is kind of a new local government as created in 2002 by Lagos State, which the Supreme Court adjudged to be inchoate because it did not meet the position of Section 8 of 5 and 6 because the National Assembly did not play their role. So, but the 768 local governments have been enshrined and established by the Constitution, but the states refused. So, what the Supreme Court did on July 11th was to enforce the provisions of the Constitution and give it a back. So, the local government, as of today, is beginning on a clean slate. So, let's take it from there.
I would want you to, pretty adjust your camera so we can get you. All right. So, talking of this autonomy, would you say you're for it?
Hello, Elder.
Elder, are you there?
Yes. Is the camera okay now?
Not yet, sir. You can, try to adjust it once again.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Are you okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I was asking a question. Would you say this autonomy is sacrosanct now?
Yes. Because, again, there have been misinterpretation of Section 162 sub 6 that talked about joint local government account. In 2006, the Supreme Court, in the case of AG, Abia State, and 2 other versus AG, and 33 others, 2006. Even though the account is Christian State Joint Local Government account, that account is meant to be a warehouse to accommodate 5 federation accounts here captured under Section 7 sub 6A and the state GR captured under Section 7 sub 6B. So, the National Assembly makes a law where it shares federation account in Section 162 sub 3 and gives it to the federal, state, and local government. In that arrangement, the local government gets 20.6%. Now, they are entitled to 10% of the individual state IGR captured under Section 162 sub 7, which will now be shared by the State Assembly under Section 162 sub 8. So, each local government is meant to receive 2 funds, 2 checks. One from the federation account shared in Abuja by the Accountant General of Federation and Revenue Mobilization. And second tranche, a check from the state IGR. As of today, by 1982 laws, it is 10% of the IGR of the state. So these 2 checks are what is the state joint local government account, and not an account between a state and a local government. Now, but the state said no, we will have the same account, but they don't bring into the same fold their own account shared in Section 162 sub 4, where the federation account is given to them individually. So what has happened now is the Supreme Court had made it clear the local governments will henceforth from 11th of July receive threat from central bank after the allocation has been shared, whatever is due to them straight to their coffers. But that does not remove the fact that the joint is still there, whereby they will still expect individual states to send in 10% of their IGR to the same account. And we know that they have been in default since 1999 for sure. But from this dispensation, we will be tracking the same account. As the federation account is being released, we'll be tracking the individual local government states, concurring and releasing that.
Okay, so in terms of revenue generation, so how will autonomy empower local government to become financially independent from state council?
Now, we have said that the local government is a huge success in terms of revenue. If you go to the 4th schedule of the Constitution, they have enormous responsibility. The markets are under them. The parks are under them. The signage are under them. The sewage are under them. Okay? So, if you go to the first schedule of the Constitution, it listed there all that are responsibilities of the local government. Okay? From where they will make money. In addition to the fact that they will receive a share of the 20.6% of the federation account and 10% of the IGR of the state. So they will have about 3 funds to their pity. Okay? So now what we'll have to battle again is that since 1966 or 79 Constitution, okay, the states evolved what they called residual list. Luckily, again, in 2006, the Supreme Court came to the rescue by saying there is nothing known in Constitution as residual. That the Supreme Court was just looking for something to hold on to make proclamation about the functions of a local government. That function captured in the fourth year of the Constitution is purely and wholly that of the local government, and no state can take it to no House of Assembly can legislate on it using quote and unquote residual list. Residual list is unknown to the 1999 Constitution. So the state government should now partner with the federal government in going into exploration of natural resources. We have gold in Zamfara State. We have bitumen in several states, Niger State inclusive, Plateau State inclusive. We have all other natural resources, not oil alone. So we will now be asking the federal government to propose again to Revenue Moderation amendments to Revenue Act, whereby other natural resources that are being harnessed illegally by vandals and some other people will be properly captured. Like the FCT minister visited the quarry site in Abuja, and he found that the Chinese who were there, who are contractors in Nigeria, we are generating all the laterals and everything from our own quarry. Meanwhile, where does the account go to? That account is supposed to move into the federation account. It's not only the oil in Niger Delta that should form the basis of natural resources. Section 162 sub 2 is very clear. Natural resources, not oil, as amended by Onjiwala and Obasanjo in 2004. So the governments will be viable. And of course, my sister, let me inform you, if and when we tidy up with the modalities and the local government takes up in the next 6 months, we are going to have an advent of industrialization in Nigeria, because the 768 local government areas will become industrial hub. There will be SMEs growing and employment will be created. And I will assure you and I urge the governors to please give your support. Section 7 sub 3 created what is called a relationship between the federal government, the state government, and the local government. Okay, let me read it clearly from the Constitution so that the governors, if any of them is listening to me, will listen and know. This is what the Constitution says. Section 7 sub 3 says, it shall be the duty of a local government council within the state to participate in economic planning and development of the area referred in subsection 2 of this Constitution, and to this end, an economic planning board shall be established by a law enacted by the House of Assembly of a state. This economic planning board is an equivalent of National Economic Council, where the vice president is in charge. So we are expecting every House of Assembly in Nigeria to establish the economic planning board, where the deputy governor of the state, who they say is a spare tire, is not a spare tire now by this arrangement, is going to be chairman of the state economic planning board, where membership are the local government chairman, the accountant general of the state, and possibly the commissioner for finance as members.
On Saturday, there's going to be elections of local government local government, in some local governments, yes, of course, in Ugo, all the local governments is going to participate, and other states like Soto, we have Kwara, Imo also. And my question is, the local government council, do you think they are doing enough, to curtail any or all the expenses, that is going to come out of this election on Saturday?
The local governments are not the people organizing the election. It is the state government. By constitutional arrangement, the election will be organized by what we call the State Independent Electoral Commission. They are captured under Section 197 sub 1B of the Constitution. Now, what do we expect from them? That as of today, in Imo State, there's a kangaroo arrangement going on. And it is this morning that the SIEC, Imo State Independent Electoral Commission, is announcing ad hoc members that they should come up for screening. And the election is supposed to be on Saturday. Sorry. But let me say that a state like Edo State, a state like Akwa Ibom State, a state like Kwara State, and a state like, I think, Sokoto State and Benue, Bauchi, are keeping to their timetable. It's only in Imo State where the State Independent Electoral Commission has violated all the agreements he had with political parties up to Monday this week. Okay? And we have appealed to them to shift that election for 1 month. More so when that election was fixed before July 11 Supreme Court judgment. So they have a window of at least 1 month to do what is right. But for any state and other states, like Akwa Ibom State, you can see a robust campaign. I saw the vice president and the senate president in Akwa Ibom State. I've equally seen the governor of Enugu State, Dr. Mba, campaigning for his parties. My only regret and worry are the political parties that boycotted this particular election. They can be accused of sabotaging the Supreme Court judgment. If you love the local government, and if you want the system the grassroots to benefit from this democracy, every party, 15 of them should have participated fully in this election.
Well, what lessons can be learned by Nigeria from countries that have implemented this so-called system of the independence of the local government administration? Over the years, we have seen how state government has stifled activities in those local government, and would think that maybe, just maybe, when Supreme Court makes that particular pronouncement, things would immediately take some shape. But I'm just wondering, are there countries that have implemented the independence of the local government? How can Nigeria learn a thing or two from them so that we can have activities down in the local government administration?
Now, if it made it clear.
Mr. Ihoma. Hello, Mr. Ihoma, can you hear me? Okay, I think we're having some technical issues connecting with Mr. Ihoma, but again, it is very important we highlight these issues.
It is over time.
Okay, it seems we have him back. Ihoma, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. So
yeah,
I'm sure you heard the question I asked earlier.
Yes, and I'm responding to it. What I'm saying is that ours is a different brand of federalism. In this federalism we run in Nigeria, as defined by the Supreme Court in 2006, it is a power sharing arrangement between federal, states, and local governments. Now, in England, in Germany, in the United States, most of their own local governments are creation of their states. And let me give you an instance in the United States. United States is a federation of 13 independent states that came together and subsumed themselves and became a United States of America of 50 to 52 states. You cannot talk about a state in the United States. That's why they have, each of them have court to Supreme Court at state level. But then they still have a Supreme Court at the federal level, if you follow Trump's saga. Okay? Now, in our own brand of federalism, we have only one federation. And that's what many commentators have been making. Comparing these two, this apple and orange. Yes, they are all local governments. But our local government is more of a mini state. The mini state is the fact that they share powers with the state. Were captured in the same section, section 3 sub 1 and section 3 sub 6. So, moving forward, the local governments are going to have each of them what is called local government service commission, like in Imo State. Local government is going to have 27 independent local government service commission. Enable them now recruit qualified and competent staff to manage the local government. Each of them is going to have its own accountant general and auditor general, where the state and federal have. Each of them is going to have its own parliament, which is the local government councillors, who are the legislators. Let me warn again, please. There is no role of oversight given to any state House of Assembly over a local government, because the federal government, National Assembly, does not even have the same oversight on them, except again on state of emergency. So if a local government is ungovernable, maybe because of bandits and some other things, a state assembly can now make law for them if it is comfortable for them to. Outside that, no House of Assembly has an oversight as to how are they managed. I have heard commentators talk about like in the past state, they say that we are going to give them 2 years because we are practicing this new Supreme Court judgment and see whether they will steal the money or not. It is not within the House of Assembly to say. Session Decree 24 of 1998, from which the government came, gave them 3 years mandate, and that is where Supreme Court said in 2002 that their mandate is for 3 years. So they are going to establish their local government service commission, accountant general office, auditor general office, and then with a functional local government legislative council, where the councillors are the legislators. If all these things are done, my brother, it will be Eldorado. The next few months, local governments will be delivering the dividends of democracy.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ihoma, for your time and your input on the show this morning. It's a continuous conversation. We would keep an eye on it. So maybe we can have a part 3 to discuss further on the implications of the judgment and, of course, the importance of having the local governments have their financial autonomy. Many thanks for your time again.
Yes, as soon as the elections of Saturday is over, we are going to do an appraisal because more are coming. We have about 22
Absolutely.
that we are not. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
We have about 10 coming up. We will take it by part 3 and look at them. While we look at the implementation committee set up by the federal government, which I'm their consultant, is a member. Okay? Definitely
exactly.
we'll get it right. God willing, we'll get it right.
All right. Thank you so much again.
Yes.
We truly appreciate you.
It's my pleasure.
All right, we're headed for a short break. When we get back, we would connect to a journalist in Edo State who has been following the developments in the gubernatorial elections that is in 48 hours. Do stay with us.